When Candice Swanepoel walked onto the 2025 Victoria's Secret runway, everything stopped. The lights seemed to soften, the crowd fell silent, and for one long electric moment, the past and the present collided. After years away from the stage that made her an icon, the South African supermodel returned not just to model, but to remind the world who she is and what this brand used to mean. Her walk wasn't just another comeback, it was a statement. A declaration that beauty evolves, but confidence never goes out of style. Fans watching from around the world said it felt like time folded in on itself, the golden age of the angels meeting a new generation that grew up questioning everything those wings once stood for. But behind the sparkle, behind the cameras and the carefully rehearsed smiles, this show revealed something bigger than glitter or lace. It showed just how far Victoria's Secret still has to go to win back the world's trust, and how Candice Swanepoel might be the only woman powerful enough to make that happen. She was born in Mooi River, South Africa, a quiet town surrounded by rolling hills, where dreams felt a million miles away from the flashing cameras of New York. Candice Swanepoel was discovered at just 15, a teenager with sky-blue eyes and a walk that could stop time. Within a few years, she wasn't just another model, she was the face that defined a generation of Victoria's Secret. When she first put on those wings in 2010, the world was different. Fashion was fantasy, and Candice embodied it completely: the blonde hair, the confidence, the effortless grace. Every step she took on that glitter-covered runway became part of the brand's mythology. Her walk wasn't just beautiful, it was history walking back into the light. She carried that era on her shoulders, the one people now call the golden age of the angels. For millions of fans, she wasn't a model. She was the symbol of what Victoria's Secret once was: glamour, power, and perfection, all rolled into one. But when she appeared on that 2025 stage, the internet couldn't decide. Was this a comeback or a carefully crafted cover-up? Was Victoria's Secret trying to rewrite its story through the one woman the world still trusted to sell the fantasy? Because when Candice returned, the applause was real, but so were the questions. For years, Victoria's Secret was a ghost of itself, haunted by the scandals that tore down the empire it once built on glitter, wings, and impossible standards. The brand that once ruled pop culture had vanished under headlines about toxic culture, outdated beauty ideals, and public backlash that burned brighter than any spotlight. But in 2025, it came back, different, bolder, and desperate to prove it had changed. This wasn't the Angels Parade anymore. This was the Rebirth. The iconic runway lights glowed softer, the casting was broader, and the message was louder. Everyone belongs. Gone were the days of cookie-cutter perfection. Now athletes, artists, and models of every background stood side by side, redefining what beauty could look like. Body positivity wasn't just a tagline, it was the core of the show's revival, and in the middle of it all was Candice Swanepoel, walking that fine line between past and present. To some, she represented everything Victoria's Secret used to be. To others, she was the bridge to what it was becoming. Her presence said it all. Evolution doesn't erase history, it transforms it. As the cameras followed her down that glittering runway, you could feel it. This wasn't nostalgia, it was redemption. Candice wasn't just walking the runway, she was rewriting the company's legacy in real time, one confident step at a time. Within minutes of Candice stepping onto that stage, the internet exploded. Twitter, or X as it's now called, was on fire. Clips of her walk flooded every feed, from fashion blogs to meme accounts. Fan edits hit millions of views before the show even ended, synced to nostalgic soundtracks from the early 2010s when Victoria's Secret ruled every December. Some fans called it the comeback of the decade, saying no one could command a runway like Candice Swanepoel. Others were less forgiving, tweeting that it felt too little, too late. The debate was everywhere. Was this a genuine transformation, or a glossy apology wrapped in angel wings? Meanwhile, the 2025 show itself had turned into a full-blown cultural mashup. Pop icons Madison Beer and Karol G lit up the stage with high-voltage performances. K-pop sensations Twice brought global fandom energy that made the crowd erupt. And basketball star Angel Reese strutted like she'd been born for the runway. It wasn't just a fashion show anymore, it was a worldwide event, engineered to trend. And it worked. But as the lights dimmed and the hashtags multiplied, a different question started spreading online, one that no amount of glitter could hide. Behind every spotlight comeback, there's always a question. Why now? While the cameras painted it as a fairy tale return, the real story of Candice Swanepoel's comeback started long before that runway moment. After stepping away from Victoria's Secret, Candice quietly built an empire of her own. Her brand, Tropic of Sea, wasn't just another celebrity venture, it was a statement: sustainable swimwear, female-driven storytelling, and raw, natural beauty. She didn't need a corporation to validate her. She became one. By 2016, she had already made Forbes' list of the highest-paid models in the world, pulling in millions through campaigns and her own business ventures. She wasn't chasing relevance, she had mastered reinvention. Candice proved that even when the wings came off, her career didn't need to fall. She evolved from supermodel to CEO, from runway star to creative visionary. So when Victoria's Secret started planning its big rebrand, one built on empowerment and inclusivity, there was one name they couldn't ignore. Candice didn't need them. They needed her. Her image carried the credibility, nostalgia, and global recognition the brand couldn't manufacture with a press release, and that's what makes this comeback so fascinating. When the call came to return, it wasn't nostalgia. It was negotiation. A quiet, strategic move between a woman who once defined the brand and a brand that now needed her to define itself again. For longtime fans, watching Candice Swanepoel step onto that stage again felt like seeing an old friend return, not the same as before, but stronger, freer, untouchable. The crowd wasn't just cheering for a model. They were cheering for a memory, a moment in time that had grown, healed, and evolved right in front of their eyes. This wasn't just fashion. It was redemption stitched in silk and light. Every camera flash, every beat of the music felt like a declaration that even the most criticized brands can rise again, and that even icons can rewrite their own stories. The 2025 show became more than an event. It was a symbol of resilience, a reminder that legacy doesn't have to be perfect to matter, and Candice, she embodied that message. Her posture told a story of survival, her smile carried both nostalgia and power. She didn't just model lingerie. She modeled evolution proof that beauty can grow from controversy, and that grace can exist even after the fall, because for every fan who once doubted Victoria's Secret's future, Candice Swanepoel's return was the answer they didn't see coming, a living bridge between the past that made history and the future that's still learning how to. Even as the applause echoed around the world, the debate refused to die down. Critics said the brand's transformation felt more like PR than progress, a glossy rebrand aimed at rewriting a troubled history. Fans, though, saw something different. They called it growth, messy, imperfect, but real. For them, Victoria's Secret wasn't pretending to be new. It was learning to evolve, one bold decision at a time. And right in the center of that conversation stood Candice Swanepoel, the perfect spokesperson, without even trying to be one. She represented both worlds, the traditional glamour that built the brand and the modern awareness that now drives it forward. Her presence didn't erase the past, it reframed it. She was the face of beauty then, and somehow still the face of change now. Behind the scenes, younger models reportedly looked to her for guidance. They whispered that she was calm, grounding, even maternal. Between fittings and interviews, she'd remind them, "You don't have to become perfect to belong here. Just be proud of your story." For a brand that once thrived on comparison. That was revolutionary, but one quiet moment backstage said more than the entire runway, and it would soon become the clip that broke the internet. It happened after the show, a moment that wasn't part of the production, wasn't planned, and yet captured everything the new Victoria's Secret wanted to say. A young first-time model stood backstage trembling, her hands shaking as she held her robe closed. Cameras caught Candice Swanepoel walking up to her, wrapping her arms around her and whispering softly, "Be yourself, that's what's beautiful." That hug lasted just a few seconds, but the world saw it. Within hours, the clip went viral, flooding TikTok and X with the hashtag #Candice is back. Millions of views poured in overnight. Fans said it wasn't just a tender moment, it was the soul of the show. No diamonds, no wings, no fireworks, just one woman reminding another that confidence doesn't need permission. And maybe that's why her return mattered more than any diamond bra ever could. Because in that quiet, human moment, Candice didn't just walk the runway, she showed what it means to lead it. In a way, Candice Swanepoel's entire career feels like a mirror reflecting the rise, fall, and rebirth of Victoria's Secret itself. Both began as symbols of perfection. Both faced a reckoning when the world changed. And both are now learning that reinvention doesn't mean erasing the past, it means growing from it. From a small-town dreamer in South Africa to one of the most recognizable names in fashion, Candice has walked through eras, controversies, and comebacks with a kind of quiet grace that few ever master. Her return to the 2025 runway wasn't just about nostalgia, it was about endurance. About how some legacies don't fade, they adapt. And as the lights dimmed and the crowd stood to applaud, one thing became clear. She proved that real icons don't chase relevance, they redefine it. Candice Swanepoel didn't just return to Victoria's Secret. She reminded the world why her name still matters. So now the question is yours. Do you think Victoria's Secret's comeback will last this time, or is it just nostalgia in disguise? Tell us below.